Yo, good evening, USA, International Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, tri-state areas of New Jersey, Connecticut, plus the 5 spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Rhymes with now or later, just like the candy. Your host with the most, missing the still only nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, and Queens, New York native, who is also a New York Giants, New York Knicks, and New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. You are now rocking with me by listening and watching the 124th episode of the Sports Edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. This is the platform where we talk about what's going on in the news of the New York Giants, the New York Knicks, the New York Mets, and all the above. And man, oh man, I got some sports topics to get to for you folks at home, man, and including some difficult challenges of what the Mets are going through. We also got to talk about the summer league that happened. Also got to talk about what went down with the New York Giants last month of June, and everything else in between. Now, make sure you click on that subscribe button on the YouTube Sports Channel page. Leave a like. Make sure you turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on when I'll be going live. And of course, make sure you share the videos with some of your sports fans out there. All right. Now, I do see somebody who actually sent a message, so I'm gonna get to that in a sec. Right after we get to the segment of the quick side bleacher bar. All right. Let's get started. Okay, let me take a look and see who sent me a message real quick before I begin covering the topics real quick. Let me see who sent me this. And shouts to Drew Learn. He said, "What's up, G Money? I hope everything's going well with you. I hope you were able to catch some gains in the minor leagues. And also, I know you don't have an Instagram right now, but if you create an Instagram, let me know so I could follow you, so I could possibly get you onto my sports podcast right here on this platform. So that way you'll be able to let me know what's going on down on the farm and stuff. So you know what I'm saying. So there you go, right there. Shouts to Drew Learned. By the way, I be seeing him on the Metropolitan Report podcast by Alfred. So shouts to Alfred, shouts to Drew Learn. All right. So there you go, right there. Thank you very much. All right. Let's talk New York Giants real quick. All right. So here's what's happening here. And this is from, what is it? This is from giantswear.usatoday.com. All right, so let's see what's going on here. So the New York Giants made a ton of changes this offseason, necessary changes. Hiring John Harbaugh was the first big domino to fall, followed by revamping the rest of the coaching staff. During free agency, players were lost and players were added, and more players were added in the draft. But how have those changes improved this team, you ask? ESPN's Seth Walder handed out offseason grades this week, assessing every move each NFL team made during this offseason, and assigned each team a grade based on those moves. For the Giants, he liked most of what they did. And of course, the New York Giants have a B plus for the biggest move. Of course, I'm obviously hiring John Harbaugh as coach, trading Dexter Lawrence, Dexter Lawrence the second, move I dislike, signing linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. Okay, nothing was more significant that the Giants successfully landing Harbaugh. He should be a stabilizing force given his long track record of success in Baltimore, and he rightfully gives fans hope in the franchise's new direction. But in terms of players, the biggest decision the Giants made was to trade Lawrence to the Bengals for the number 10 pick. That was a huge hit. As much as I and probably the Giants like Lawrence as a player, he was coming off a down season, and the value of the number 10 pick was simply a much better return than the veteran defensive tackle is likely worth. Yeah, that's what DT stands for. In case anybody didn't know, it stands for defensive tackle. All right, so there you go. Thanks to that trade, the Giants had 2 top 10 picks in the draft. They added linebacker / edge rusher Arvel Reese, who surprisingly fell to number 5. And let me try not to butcher this last name. Francis Maui Goa at number 10. Those 2 young players can be the foundation of the Giants' new core if they play well. New York also made a poor value trade in moving up to get receiver Malachi Fields on day 2. Day 2. Okay. Walder went on to discuss losing Wandale Robinson, the Malik Neighbors injury impact, resigning Jermaine Illuminor, and bringing in DJ Reader, Greg Newsom, and Edmonds. But the biggest impact statement from his comments is this: nothing will affect the Giants' win total in the short term more than second-year quarterback Jackson Dart's development. But this offseason was more about setting up a foundation for the medium to long term. Even with the B plus grade, Walder doesn't expect much in the short term. He believes these moves are setting up Big Blue for the long term, which may not be wrong. But but let's also not undersell what this team is capable of in 2026. Under Harbaugh, they are bound to win more games than they did in 2025. Given how this team has played for the last decade, we'll call that progress. And when they win enough games to keep the NFC East in close competition, everyone can act surprised like this team came from nowhere, and we'll call that a win. Now, for those of you who may not know what OT stands for, let me just look this up real quick. Let me look this up real quick. Oh, offensive tackle. Okay. Offensive tackle. Got it. Got it. All right. Let's get to our next sports topic here. Let's see. If there's anything else I need to talk about here. Yes, Jackson Dart. No. Hold on. I'm sorry. Not Jackson Dart. I'm sorry. I want to talk about let me see, where is yeah, I want to talk about the New York Knicks for a second actually. I was not aware that there was a summer league. All right. So we'll go over that actually. Let's go over that actually. So they played 2 games. One on Friday, which was against the Brooklyn Nets. The other one was from playing against the Spurs, who they defeated in the NBA Finals. So let's get into all this actually. So let me see. So this is from Friday actually. So NBA Summer League is a weird funhouse mirror. Excel dare. Like when Kevin Knox scored 29 points against the Lakers, and a player might be declared a franchise cornerstone. Drop a stinker as Mohamed Diawara did yesterday with 7 points on 1 of 9 shooting. I'll talk about him in a sec as far as signing to the team. And some would call the player a bust. Both are overreactions, but it is fair to admit that Mo disappointed us after signing a 4-year, $11.2 million contract this summer. Indeed, the Knicks opened Las Vegas Summer League with a 91-65 loss to the Nets on Friday night. New York actually competed well early, taking a slim lead after the first quarter. After halftime, the game unraveled. Brooklyn dominated the third period 30-9, turning a close contest into a runaway before cruising through the fourth to win 91-65. Pacom Dadiet. Pacom Dadiet logged 20 points and 7 assists for the Knicks, and rookie sharpshooter Tyler Nickel impressed, scoring 18 points on 6 of 10 shooting from deep. Brooklyn got 20 points apiece from M. Brown Jr. and Igor Demon, excuse me. The Knicks summer coach TJ Saint started Jaden Atkins, Dylan Jones, Pacom Dadiet, Mohamed Diawara and Liam Robbins. My bad. Dadiet has been a fixture of the Knicks G League team and the bench at Madison Square Garden since being drafted in 2024. After scrimmaging in practice against the rotational Knicks for the past 2 years, we expected him to fare well against these the junior Nets. As for Diawara, and his 39 plus minus rating, the less said, the better. Both he and Dadiet shot 1 of 7 from beyond the arc. The most pleasant surprise of the evening was Nico, coming off a standout senior season at Vanderbilt. The 6'8" wing was drafted 47th by New York this summer. He was regarded as one of the best movement shooters of the draft crop. That skill was on display in Vegas, and we're excited to see more of it when he gets reps with the Westchester Knicks. Igor Damon had a strong outing for the Nets, shooting 7 of 15 from the field while adding 7 rebounds. He was aggressive, attacking the rim, and showed solid playmaking and efficiency as one of the Brooklyn standouts. Selected 8th overall by the Nets last year. Damon enjoyed a promising rookie season, averaging 10.3 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 3.3 assists in 52 games. That's 45 starts before the plantar fasciitis sidelined him. The same plantar fasciitis that Brandon Nimble has been struggling with. He's considered to be one of the key pieces in the Nets rebuild. So, that's interesting. And yeah, and let's go to the next highlight of the New York Knicks going against the Spurs. All right. So the highlights goes like this, and this is from FillingTheLane.com. The Spurs defeated the Knicks 70-49, which took place yesterday in San Antonio. Carter Bryant finished with a team-high 19 points along with 2 rebounds and 2 3-pointers for the Spurs, while Jacoby Gillespie tallied 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in the game. Tyler Nickel recorded 16 points, 4 3-pointers, and 2 rebounds. The Spurs improved their record to 1-1 with the win, while the Knicks fall to 0-2 for the season. Wait a minute, man. This is the summer league. This is different from the regular season. This is way different. It's way different, man. And let me find out something real quick. Yeah, let me find out something real quick. All right, so the schedule for the summer league for the Knicks, as scheduled, it started Friday, July 10th, which took place on Prime Video. Yesterday, I watched it on ESPN. Monday, coming up, the Knicks go against the Detroit Pistons, 4:00 p.m. 4:00 p.m. Cox Pavilion. That's in Las Vegas. Thursday, July 16th, the Knicks go against the Golden State Warriors. And of course, any particular opponent to date, will be announced. So let's see. So there you go, right there. All right. Let's go over the players that the Knicks got so far. I mentioned that they got Mohamed Diawara, right? I mentioned that they got that player. So let's get to him. Yes, here it is. So, and this is according to Sports Illustrated. Here's what's happening. Basketball's off season is still young, but that hasn't prevented the Knicks from undergoing plenty of changes since winning the NBA Finals last month. While the start of free agency saw big men Mitchell Robinson and Ariel Hukporti leave for Boston and Philadelphia, respectively, the Knicks managed to retain Landry Shamet and Jose Alvarado, as well as re-signing Mohamed Diawara to a 4-year deal worth at least $10 million. Diawara's new contract seemingly showed the Knicks' faith in him. A $2.5 million average annual value, which is what AAV stands for, isn't a huge number, but it's significant enough for a 21-year-old forward who was the 51st pick of the NBA draft just last year. At the same time, New York's latest decision showed that the front office and coaching staff still view Diawara as a work in progress. On Thursday, the Knicks unveiled their 2026 NBA Summer League roster shared by SNY TV's Ian Begley. This year's summer unit contains expected names such as rookie Tyler Nico and 2024 first rounder Pacom Dadiet, with one surprise inclusion being Diawara despite his new contract. Diawara sure seemed like an off-season priority when the details of his new Knicks contract emerged on June 22nd. Fast forward over a week later, and his being a part of New York's Summer League roster shows that his role isn't locked up yet, and that certain aspects of his game could use improving. It might seem demoralizing at a glance, but some summertime action might be in Diawara's best interest. The annual competition is a good way to keep an up and coming prospect humble and motivated, as it makes it clear that they need to take their game to new heights if they want to be an everyday NBA contributor next season and beyond. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what being on a championship winning team will do for Diawara's development moving forward. The 6'9", 225-pound forward was trusted to make 7 starts in his 69 regular season appearances, playing just over 9 minutes per game as he averaged 3.6 points, 1.4 rebounds, and 0.8 assists while shooting 42.3% from the floor and 36.9% from deep. Diawara only made 6 postseason appearances, with none coming in the NBA Finals, averaging 1.2 double PG with 23.1% field goal and 16.7% 3-point rates. All eyes will be on Diawara to see if he can improve on last year summer league numbers now that he has some NBA experience under his belt. He averaged 7.0 double PG on 22.3 minutes across 4 appearances last year, which included a summer high 7 rebounds in the final game versus the Wizards on July 19th. He did only shoot 2 of 13, which is 15.4% from deep. Though one thing the Knicks likely want to see is an improved perimeter presence. Now let's see what PPG stands for in basketball terms, so you guys can get an idea. On what that's about. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. Let me see. All righty then. Hang on 1 second here. Stand 4. Hold on. Oh, points per game. Okay. Points per game, for those of you who may not know, is a basic per game statistic showing how many points a player scores on average. Okay. There you go. All right. Okay. So where was I? Where was I? Yes. So let me see. Yeah. Yes, he averaged 7.0 double P on 22.3 minutes across 4 appearances last year, which included a summer high 7 rebounds in the final game versus the Wizards on July 19th. He did only shoot 2 of 13, which is 15.4% from deep. Though one thing the Knicks likely want to see is an improved perimeter presence. If Diawara makes the necessary improvements, he could be looking at a much bigger role in New York this fall, proving that he's ready for more of the Knicks' trust. Could position him as one of their top bench players, as he could potentially give both OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges some much needed breaks during games. He can also play some backup center minutes in small ball lineups, which helps the team amid the ongoing search for Robinson's replacement. The 2026 NBA Summer League already begun already, man. It already begun. So the Knicks will start their summertime slate one day later, facing the Nets, which they already did. And what will be Diawara's first opportunity to prove that not only is his new contract worth its ink and paper, but that he's ready to take the next step in his NBA career. And of course, so so $2.5 million average annual value. That's 4-year deal of $10 million plus $2.5 million average annual value. So of course, it's not a lot. All right. Let me see. Let me see if there's anything else related to the Knicks. Let me see. Yes. There's another player. Yeah, another player besides Mitchell Robinson. Um, Ariel Hukporti is leaving the Knicks to sign a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers, according to ESPN Shams um, Sharania. Hukporti's contract will pay him $3.4 million with the Knicks' Eastern Conference rivals. That's interesting. That's very interesting right there. All right, acquired in a draft night trade with the Mavericks in 2024, Hukporti played just 25 games as a rookie, but saw his role expand in his second season, playing 54 games while averaging 2.2 points and 2.9 rebounds. The 7-footer provided some quality depth behind Karl Anthony Towns, aka Cat, and Mitchell Robinson, and also logged some key minutes during this year's championship run, averaging 10.8 minutes per game in the 4-game sweep of the Sixers. With Philadelphia, Hukporti will provide depth behind Joel Embiid and Adam Bona. All right. So there you go, right there. And let's see if there's anything else to talk about here. Let me see. Anything Knicks related I want to talk about? I hope I don't miss out. Let me see. Let me see something here. Mm-hmm. Um. Okay. Now, Rob Manfred is really getting on every Mets fan's nerves about this stupid salary cap. Okay, like it doesn't like for me it doesn't make any sense. For me, this shit doesn't make any sense to me. And this is what's going on with the stupid ass proposal that they're talking about here. And yes, and yes, this is as the I have to agree with the guys from shouts to the guys from the Queens Baseball Live podcast crew who actually gave a breakdown on what it could negatively do as far as like work stoppage. So all right, so according to MLB.com, all right. So MLB outlined its vision of a grand bargain in a series of proposals made to the MLB Players Association over the past few weeks. Under the latest proposals shared last Thursday, which focused on the reserve system, the vast majority of players would earn more money, reach free agency earlier, and play under a new economic system designed to address the historically wide payroll disparity, which is one of the biggest frustrations among fans as it impacts competitive balance. The trade-off is straightforward. Baseball's highest paid stars would surrender earning power at the very top of the market. That raises what I think is a central question of these negotiations as it pertains to the reserve system. Should the next CBA be optimized for the superstar who reaches free agency or for the typical player whose career ends before arbitration? The players' overall share of industry revenue is not likely to change dramatically. If at all, under MLB's proposal, it would remain a 50-50 split where it typically hovers. What changes in the reserve proposal is how that money is distributed over the course of a player's career. This proposal is a pivot. It focuses on the 98%, not the 2%. This century, baseball increasingly is a sport where value is created early, but compensation arrives late. Younger players are producing more wins than ever before, while veterans continue receiving a disproportionate share of payroll. The economic proposals taken together attempt to address the mismatch while also leveling the financial disparity in the game, allowing baseball a better opportunity to grow. The historic change, the headline item in the reserve proposal, is allowing players to reach free agency earlier. In Thursday's proposal, MLB agreed to reduce the service time required to reach free agency to 5 years instead of 6 for players 30 and older. It's tied to the acceptance of a cap and floor system. The 6 year standard has been in place since free agency itself was introduced in 1976. Getting the free agency a year earlier is a big deal. Player careers are short. Players' careers are short. 3 seasons on an average. 1 season matters. As of June 25th, 354 players on major league rosters would be projected to reach free agency a year earlier under the proposal. Under the proposal, clubs would retain the ability to keep those 5-year players for one additional season by tendering a contract equal to the average salary of the game's 125 highest paid players. $22.25 million this season, creating a form of restricted free agency similar to the North American sports. MLB is also willing to eliminate the qualifying offer system, another MLBPA objective. Reasonable people can debate whether this proposal strikes the proper balance, but the larger point shouldn't be overlooked. For decades, baseball's labor system delayed access to the open market. This proposal moves in the opposite direction, and it needs to. Players are debuting later and spending fewer years in the major leagues. Over the last 40 years, average player age is on a slow descent, declining by 0.7 years from an average of 28.6 years over the 1986-88 seasons to 27.9 years over the last 3 seasons. Meanwhile, the average debut age increased from an average of 23.7 between 1986 to 88 to 25.1 years over the last 3 seasons. Player careers are being pinched at their beginnings and endings. This is also an argument for players locking in a 50% share of revenue. Enhanced player development practice and new tech extends now to the amateur level, which will only further pressure the average age and career length of players. Moreover, teams today better understand aging curves. A free agent season at age 29 or 30 is substantially more valuable than one at 31 or 32. The historic change is an acknowledgement that peak compensation increasingly lags when players' greatest on-field value occurs. Who benefits? Most players and fans. The union argues that trickle-down economics work in MLB. Yes, elite players have functioned as price setters in the baseball labor market as their earnings influence the free agent, arbitration, and extension markets. But those trickle-down economics do not reach the largest cohort of players, the pre-arbitration players. They play at or near the league minimum. Consider that the average career length is 3 years, meaning the majority of players never reach arbitration, let alone free agency. Each year, about 60% of players on the field are in their pre-arb years. On opening day, 57% of players this year were at the league minimum or near it. Then in season, the players who replace opening day rostered players due to injury or prospects who are promoted are almost always playing at or near the minimum. That raises the overall contribution. In 2025, 52% of all service time days were tied to pre-arb players. The big takeaway is this: the median salary is the league minimum. Also consider the value these players produce. In the combined 2019 to 25 seasons, 40.7% of F-WAR was produced by pre-R players. Yet last year, pre-R players earned just 9.4% of all player salaries. Conversely, from 2019 to 25, free agents earned 61.4% of all player salaries and produced just 28.8% of F-WAR, excuse me. But differently, players producing more than 40% of the league's on-field value earn less than 10% of its payroll. In this proposal, MLB raises the league minimum a record $1 million for players with 2+ years of service time. That would be a record year-over-year increase. Compensation would also jump to $1 million for players with 0 to 1 years of service if they accumulated a full year of service. A $900,000 salary combined with a $100,000 um, bonus. Hmm. All right. Those levels would increase as league revenues increase. The increase is meaningful. Consider what former MLB reliever um Rob Scahill told me a few years ago when I was with 538.com. Most grind out on a split career between AAA and the majors unless you are a contract guy, Scahill said. Um, for the vast majority of players, every dollar counts for the rest of their lives. Your average major league player needs a job after baseball. If the union's goal is maximizing earnings for the median player rather than maximizing the ceiling for stars, then this proposal deserves consideration. The trade-off, max contracts, and the middle class. Oh boy. The MLBPA's top objection is that salary caps reduce the earnings potential of the league's highest paid players. Significant restrictions are placed on the top of the players' pay pyramid in the proposal. Um, but this disagreement is less about whether players should be paid more or less in aggregate, and more about which point in the career curve the marginal dollars should be concentrated. MLB's proposal includes limiting free agent contracts to a maximum of 6 years for players who re-sign with clubs. Cornerstone players at 16% of the cap, a 6 year and $265 million max deal in 2027 numbers, and 5 years and 15% of the cap for players that signed with new clubs, a 5 year, $202 million max deal. The bird rights like incentive is designed to keep stars with incumbent teams, which is what fans wants to better build interest and emotional connection. Imagine incentivizing a star like Paul Skeens to remain with the small market Pirates. That's good for baseball. No one wants an NFL where Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen depart for the New York Jets and New York Giants after their rookie deals. Well, no one outside of New York. Star players would oppose earnings limitations, but that means dollars will flow to other players as teams would be forced to meet a floor. Again, the pie is going to be split roughly 50-50. This is a question about how one half is distributed. This quote from an agent shared with me from the last CBA talk stuck with me. I think there is too much focus on the top 1%. There's not really a middle class in baseball. I definitely think it's been a huge hole for many years. They need to find ways to incentivize teams to spend on the middle class because at the end of the day, stars are going to get their money. Baseball's top earners would lose ceiling because, would lose ceiling income, but that group is a very small portion of the player pool. Consider that only 7 players are enjoying a 2026 salary in excess of the proposed maximum annual average value. The other 98% of free agent contracts today would not be impacted. More players would benefit, but it requires more shared revenues tied to a cap and floor system. Growth over the long term, this economic framework could be a massive tailwind, combined with a salary floor and cap and shared media dollars. There would likely be an increase in revenues because there would be more fan bases invested. More balance would almost certainly lead to greater TV deals, as it would be a less bi- bifurcated sport. While MLB revenues have increased without a cap and floor system, they've also grown more slowly than the other major North American sports. Consider the compound annual growth rates of revenue for the major North American sports since 2015. NBA 10.7%, NFL 7.5%, NHL 6.8%, MLB 2.7%. Imagine what revenues would be if all teams played on a level field. If MLB had matched the NBA's revenue growth over the last decade, league revenues would have doubled and salaries with them, mostly going to stars. The NBA maximum per year salary was $22.97 million in 2015 to 16. In 2025 to 26, it more than doubled to $54.13 million. When we place all the puzzle pieces together under this economic framework, the vast majority of players would earn greater pay and more fan bases would be engaged year round, easing the perception and realities of competitive imbalance. That would then likely raise revenues, baking a larger pie. That's a risk. That's a rising tide lifting most ships. That's what a grand bargain should look like. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that, actually, man, to be honest with you, because, from all the content creators, including people like Barry Grant and everybody else, they're basically saying that it can disrupt work stoppage. And what really triggers what's going to happen in 2027 is, like, depending on how long the stupid lockout is going to be. I mean, this lockout bullshit is unacceptable. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. This stupid lockout is unacceptable. And I feel like you only want this lockout to happen because and even Juan, let me look up, even Juan Soto was basically saying, why do we need a salary cap? I'm gonna look up what he said, actually, because this is important. And I believe this is one of the challenges that the Mets are going to go through. I'll get to Steve Cohen in a sec. Hang on 1 second. Yeah. So another, Juan Soto rejected the idea of a salary cap, and I'll just say this though. So Juan Soto had kicked off his life of luxury after signing a massive $765 million contract with the New York Mets back in 2024, which is hailed as one of the richest deals in baseball history. The Dominican outfielder for the Mets has, however, become the target of backlash from fans concerning his comments on the heated subject of MLB's salary cap proposal for the 2027 season. MLB's salary cap is a subject that has drawn heat for some years now and has become an official tussle between MLB owners and the players' union. The proposed deal for the 2027 season includes a 50-50 revenue split, a salary floor of $171.2 million, and a cap set at $245.3 million. If the committee decides to go by these figures, Soto's current contract alone wraps 23.4% of the Mets' total payroll. When asked about the issue, Soto totally rejected the idea of a salary cap, stating how it limits the opportunities for players to maximize their earnings, especially in a sport that financially operates differently from other professional leagues. He said, in quote, "I don't think that's right to have a cap. Baseball is doing great. We've been increasing every year. It's been great for baseball." Fans have, however, disregarded his economic defense as they view his comments as tone deaf, coming from someone who has bagged the richest deal in baseball history. And of course, obviously, this person was like, "This is like the last guy you should ask about a salary cap." Soto is notoriously what? Y'all have no idea what y'all talking about, man. So it's notoriously bad, but it's notoriously bad. Y'all don't know y'all don't know what y'all talking about, man. Um every listen. So the labor battle between the union and the league owners shows no sign of slowing down. The negotiations are expected to go on for some time as both sides remain deadlocked with their proposals, with the threat of a lockout in 2027 season looming large. Juan Soto talks about for baseball, which started to take shape at a very early age. During the interview, Soto spoke about what it means to have his family by his side, while also highlighting how excited they are for his success. They are really proud of what I do. They are really happy about everything I do, and I'm happy that they are enjoying it because I do this for them and for my whole family to enjoy, have those emotions. Soto was first introduced to baseball by his dad, Juan Jose Soto, and has often credited him with his rise to the majors. So yeah, that was his point, man. That was his point of the rejection of the salary cap. You know, I have to agree. I have to agree with him. I have to agree with him and stuff. I think it's going to damper work stoppage, and to me, that's not going to look good. Speaking of not looking good, I want to go to I want to go to what Steve Cohen has to say in regards to the salary cap. And this is from Clutch Points. Of course, this is one of the challenges. This is one of the challenges in baseball, of course, is not looking all that great. So, all right. So, MLB and MLBPA are hoping to avoid a lockout coming to fruition next season as collective bargaining talks continue. One of the primary subjects that has been discussed is the idea of a salary cap. The salary cap would be to provide more competitive balance around the league, as small market teams would have better opportunities to sign star players. However, how does the richest owner in the game, New York Mets owner Steve Cohen, feel about a potential salary cap? And he says, in quote, "I'm a league first guy. I'm going to allow the labor committee to do their thing," Cohen said recently via New York Post Sports. "I don't know how this is going to play out. I'm pretty confident that whatever changes are going to be made will be post 2027. I think we can operate in the way we're operating through 2027. I don't know how the CBA will go and when they come to an agreement, but it could easily come in the middle of the season. It could come before the season. Maybe there's no lockout. Maybe they figured it out. I don't know. My belief is that whatever changes will be made will be post 2027 and won't interfere with the season." Cohen is hopeful that a lockout may not come to fruition. That's something everyone wants to avoid if possible. However, both MLB and MLBPA want to agree to a proposal that is fair for everyone involved. The Mets owner is a league first guy, so he seemingly wants what is best for the game. All right. All right. What else we got? What else we got to talk about though, man? Oh, let's talk about what happened with oh wait a minute. Before I go on, before I forget though, man. Before I forget, um, I forgot to mention this in the basketball news part. All eyes are on the Knicks, both in New York and across the league, as free agency begins. Though the team is a threat again in 2026 to 27 with the entire core locked in. The moves they make, the moves they make on the margins very well could determine their ability to repeat. With that in mind, let's begin to track everything the Knicks have done during the 2026 offseason between additions, losses, and everything else. So, Knicks additions during 2026 offseason, signings, re-signings, trades, draft picks. So I just talked about Mohamed Diawara, reportedly agreed to re-sign on a multi-year, $10+ million deal. Jose Alvarado on a 3-year, $13 million deal. Reportedly, Landry Shamet on a 4-year, $24 million deal. Andre Drummond on 1-year, $3.9 million deal. Reportedly agreed to re-sign. Actually, yeah, Jordan Clarkson is what I wanted to discuss too. Jordan Clarkson on a 1-year, $3.9 million deal. Okay, so the Knicks have made the most of their time in the lead up to free agency by reportedly agreeing to 3 deals with impending free agents. Promising rookie Mohamed Diawara was first to be taken care of, though clear details on his arrangement are still to emerge. Jose Alvarado, meanwhile, has opted to decline his 2026 to 27 player option in favor of a longer-term deal with the team. This allows him to have a bit more financial security for the next several years and be a key part of New York's second unit for the Core's entire title window. Then, um, then there's the big domino falling with Landry Shamet coming back. SNY's Ian Begley notes Shamet had bigger offers he could have pursued, but he took less than he would have seen elsewhere to give the Knicks some extra flexibility while snagging himself a significant raise. Now, the attention on the Mitchell Robinson, I already talked about. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, he got traded to the Boston Celtics. So that's pretty much what that was, though. Um, so there you go. Draft picks and trades includes drafted Jack Cahill and Tyler Nickel, number 47 in second round. Um, they also acquired draft rights to international players like Melvin Ajinka and Louis um, LeBerry and Chine Melu Elonu. Wow. Huh. That's interesting. Anyway, that's an interesting one. So Jack Cahill is an intriguing combo guard who likes to initiate on offense as a scorer and playmaker. Meanwhile, Tyler Nickel is a sharpshooter who proved himself as one of college's best marksmen over the last 3 years. Both are worthwhile flyers for the Knicks, who should also be cheap as potential two-way candidates. And as for the Knicks losses, I mentioned Ariel Hukporti is with the 76ers. And of course, Mitchell Robinson is with the Celtics for a 3-year, $47.4 million deal. So the Knicks lost the ability to make Ariel Hukporti a restricted free agent and thus to match any offer he gets in free agency by declining to extend him a qualifying offer. This certainly allows Hukporti to sign with any team of his choosing. Of course, that could still be New York, and there's reason to believe that could happen. Hukporti would make around $200K less if he signed on a veteran minimum with the Knicks instead of taking the lowest qualifying offer, while um, minuscule difference, it is enough for the team to explore this route, especially since it doesn't close the door on the German center's return. Given his situation is complex, he lands in the losses section for now, but could jump up top in the coming days. Yeah, unfortunately, man. Unfortunately, that kind of sucks, though, man. Yeah, back to baseball, man. Back to baseball. Yeah, back to baseball, man. You're probably wondering what the hell happened with hold on. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, so I'm very glad. Hang on a second, man. This is crazy. Yeah, so for the moral of the story is this salary cap bullshit is basically not going to work. It is not going to work, and it's going to cause work stoppage because not only is going to delay the next season of 2027, but then it's going to create not only work stoppage, but it's going to cause um, friction. So I'm gonna tell you like this though, man. Rob Manfred is a fucking snake. All right, he's been a snake to the baseball industry for quite some time, and he doesn't get out of his deal till like fucking 2029. That's fucking insane to me, to be suggesting a salary cap. I mean, these motherfuckers didn't even talk about the job security that these players have a right to, as far as families and everything else, their homes, everything. You know what I'm saying? That to me is just it's just a slap in the fucking face, man. It's a slap in the face. Oh man. All right. We got some more challenges to actually talk about here. Um, let's see. Actually, I have some thoughts that I want to talk about actually though, man, in regards to the Mets' difficult challenges that they're going through. So today they lost to the Boston Celtics, no, the Boston Red Sox. Um, Unfortunately, the Mets got swept by the Red Sox, and now they're like 17. They're like 17 games back, and now they're like 40-56. Now, here are some difficult challenges that the Mets are going through. Now, I took the liberty to actually look up the phrase mental lapse, right? I want to break this down on what that really means. All right. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. So you have, let me see. All right, so here's a breakdown of what mental lapse is. So basically, a mental lapse in baseball refers to a moment when a player's concentration in, for instance, Lindor's case, focus or decision-making breakdowns, leading to a mistake or missed opportunity. It's not always a physical error. It can happen even when the player knows what they should do, but their mind drifts or freezes, causing them to miss a play, misjudge a situation, or fail to act in time. Now, the cause and effect behind it is triggered by inability to refocus after a play, especially in baseball's slow rhythm where attention naturally relaxes. Fatigue from long games or practice sessions, anxiety or pressure in high leverage situations, including the New York media, who like to make um, rage bait um, videos for clicks. Overthinking and dwelling on mistakes. Yeah, that's the thing I noticed about the New York Mets, though, man, because they tend to blame themselves on those mistakes. Like for instance, earlier I'm watching the game. Carson Bench misplays the ball, and he misses the catch and play when and Jaron Duran hit a fly ball, and then he tries to make the play, but then misses it, which is crazy. And then, negative thoughts and self doubt. Being too focused on being perfect rather than executing the process. That's exactly what Luke Weaver was talking about in one of his interviews and stuff like that. And what I took from what he said was he's saying that these players are human beings. They're not robots. You feel what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? And I think we need to know. And I think we need to know why it matters, right? So why it matters, you ask? Mental lapses can cost runs, lead to extra innings, or shift momentum in a game. They are a reminder that baseball is as much a mental game as a physical one. Even the most skilled players can falter if their focus slips. Like Eric Ragaman, for example, he missed the pop up play, but Zach Thornton managed to, bail him out. You feel what I'm saying? And of course, there's Bill mental toughness to stay composed under pressure. Wow. To reduce mental lapses, build mental toughness to stay composed under pressure. Use focus cues like see it, hit it, or breathe, release before each pitch. Control the controllables. Focus on effort, preparation, and process, not the outcome. Practice visualization to mentally rehearse plays and improve reaction speed. Take a take quick mental breaks, a deep breath, reset stance to regain focus. In short, a mental lapse in baseball is a breakdown in concentration or decision making that leads to a mistake, often due to fatigue, anxiety, or overthinking. Preventing them is part of the mental game, which is just as important as physical skill. I want to quote somebody actually from the Nick of Time, the Nick of Time show podcast. Um, I want to quote somebody from what Ebony said actually in that episode. She said in quote, "You can get rid of the rust, but you can't get rid of the fatigue." You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the fatigue part has to do with the schedule. It has to do with the schedule. The tough schedule of the road trips that they have to take and all that other stuff. Like, it's not easy for the Mets though. You know what I'm saying? And and yes, they lost. But here's the thing though, man. When I think of high expectations when it comes to the Mets, I think of excess baggage that they have to carry. And, like, in other words, they have to carry the burden of the amount of losses, the amount of unhappy fans and stuff on their shoulders. It is not easy. And Francisco Lindor just got back from a calf injury, man. He doesn't play 162 games. He plays less than 162 games because he always gets into slow starts. And I understand what he was saying during the interview on SNY and New York Nightcap. And of course, he was basically saying that this was not about him. This is basically about the team that's actually going through this. I mean, every player is frustrated, of course. But at the end of the day, you can have the Alfred from the Metropolitan Report podcast said it best though, and he explained it to Barry from the Queens Get the Money podcast. You can have the biggest payroll all you want, but that's not going to buy you. That's not going to buy you wins and championships and stuff like that. Remember that. All right. And on top of that, like, I get that the fans are frustrated, but I would be remiss as a Mets fan that, you know, it's very, very difficult and hard to prove people wrong. You know, it's impossible to make every Mets fan happy. It is not easy. I mean, people going through stuff. People been away from their families and stuff like that. And it's like long road trips and prepping for games and stuff like that. It can really take a toll out of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of like the my take on why they've been losing games. There's always this mental mistakes, there's mental errors. There's also frustration in terms of, you know, holding fault on themselves. And it's not even about having accountability. Like, I think it's very hard I think it's hard to actually police every person in the Mets or any other team whatsoever to be held accountable. It's hard. You can't police everybody based on mistakes and accountability. You really wait. We're not judge and jury. We're just fans that's actually witnessing things that's happening. We're not in the room full of Moneyball Stearns and his fucking nerd boat analytics department. Like, let's be clear. Let's be clear on this, though, man. A lot of times people don't like analytics in baseball games and any other sport whatsoever, and it's ruining the game of baseball. And I remember I was on Queens Get the Money podcast in the comments section asking, do you think that analytics is ruining the game of baseball? And Barry Grant Jr. had Ernest Dove on an episode, and it can be challenging, man. It can be very challenging, especially when it comes to, like, relying on the numbers to dictate which player is good based on the numbers. Let me tell you something. If we didn't have analytics today, it would be more difficult to actually look through the naked eye, the naked third eye to be exact, to actually spot talent when it comes to baseball prospects. It's not that easy, but that's just where we're living today. Do I agree with the analytics? Not really. And like I said, man, in previous episodes, I've been a Mets fan since the 1990s. I've been watching games since the games were on Channel 9. And of course the 2000s and till now. Before anybody says that I don't know baseball, well, I do read articles about what's going on in baseball and everything else. And sometimes you're not going to always please everybody, man. So just stop trying to please everybody and be yourself, and not worry about the standings and the trade rumors and the trade rumors, and of course don't worry about the stupid trade deadline, man. Continue to have fun playing baseball, man. Don't worry about the trade deadlines. Don't worry about the trade rumors and all that other stuff. All right. So that's pretty much my take on the difficult challenges. Actually, there's more difficult challenges to talk about too. Mark Vientos. Unfortunately, he is out of commission with a right hand fractured hand. And let me break this down. Though. I'm gonna break it down. Don't worry. So let me take a look here. All right. All right. Let me see. 7 hours ago. Let me see. Where? Hold on 1 second here. All right, here's what's going on with Mark Vientos. With just under a month to go until the deadline, the trade market is starting to take shape. For the Mets, the current plan is to part ways with expiring contracts while potentially listening to offers for several other players. However, a key trade chip is heading to the injured list at the worst possible time. During Thursday's contest, Mark Vientos was hit in the hand. He was hit in the hand by a sinker from Michael Waka, sending the 26-year-old crashing to the ground in pain. Vientos remained in the game to run the bases, eventually heading back to the dugout after 2 at-bats. There's more. Vientos remained in the game to run the bases, eventually heading back to the dugout after 2 at-bats. However, the right-handed hitter didn't return to his spot at third base, with Brett Beatty shifting to the hot corner, while AJ Ewing, aka the Flash, moved to second base for the first time in his major league career. Let's see. Following the 7-3 win, interim manager Andy Green announced that Vientos would be heading to the IL. The injury was described as a fracture, though many details remain unknown as he undergoes further imaging. For the Mets, the move doesn't particularly hurt their current depth, especially with Jorge Polanco returning earlier this week. He already returned, man, to man the DH position. Designated hitter has been the only path for Vientos after losing his first base job to Jared Young, but the Mets could now strike out on another opportunity as a result of this. How Mark Vientos' missing time impacts the Mets. Wednesday marked the second time Vientos played third base, only taking the field because of a scheduled off day for Francisco Lindor, who just returned from the IL last week. With Vientos now out, the Mets' infield and outfield rotations are largely unaffected, with everything expected to remain the same. However, Vientos remain a possible trade candidate despite struggling at the plate in 2026. Through 73 games, the former top prospect is batting .211 and 11 home runs and 35 RBIs, holding a .644 OPS, while walking just 12 times. Yet Vientos has transformed into a lefty specialist, serving as a premier bat against left-handers, batting .281 with an .855 OPS, 6 home runs, and 17 RBIs. His primary value lies in being under team control until 2029, giving interested clubs a corner infield with long-term stability. In a recent article by Jeff Passan of ESPN, the insider broke down the top potential moves for the contending teams in baseball. Out of all teams, the Mariners stood out as a team looking for a right-handed bat, with Vientos potentially filling their need. But now any talks have to be put on hold, and they could even be ended if clubs get cold feet, depending on how severe the injury ends up being. With Vientos hitting the IL, the Mets will likely turn back to Ronnie Mauricio, who was recently optioned to AAA following Lindor's return. The biggest question remains, do the Mets want to continue shifting Mauricio throughout the organization? At the major league level, the switch hitter won't see consistent playing time, making the option to recall him questionable. For now, the Mets will anxiously wait for the results of Vientos' imaging, which will have a major impact on his trade value ahead of the August 3rd deadline. Unfortunately, from what I've been hearing from the folks from actually I did see this actually. Let me take a look at this. I did see this actually. And it looks like let me see. It looks like let me see because um it looks like let me see. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks if I'm not mistaken. I know I heard that somewhere. I know I heard that somewhere though, man. You know what I'm saying? I know I heard that. Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks, right? Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. Um, yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. Oh man. All right, so let me look this up real quick actually. Yeah, it's not the 6 to wait, hold on. Let me make sure I get this right though. So hold on. Let me see this. So Mark Vientos is expected to be out for 6 to 8 weeks with his fractured right hand, and he will not require surgery. The injury occurred on July 9th, which was Thursday, when Vientos was hit by a 92.2 miles per hour sinker from Kansas City Royals pitcher Michael Walker in the second inning of the Mets 7-3 win at Citi Field. He initially stayed in the game but was pulled before the 3rd inning. Vientos, who was wearing a cast on his right hand and wrist, said he felt numbness and swelling, which he described as different from a previous injury. The Mets placed him on the 10-day injured list, and he is projected to return between late August and mid-September 2026, effectively ending his first half of the season. During his absence, the Mets have called up um, infielder Zach Short to fill the roster spot, and other players like Brett Beatty, Jared Young, Eric Ragaman, and Jorge Polanco are expected to cover first and third. Now, I don't think Jorge Polanco is going to be playing first base, so that's out of the question. That's really out of the question, though. That's really out of the question, though, man. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. Unfortunately, yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. Well, broken right hand. Holy shit. Yeah, he got a broken right hand, man. When you see the word fracture, it means that he has a broken right hand. So it's broken. So that's gonna be tough, man. That's fucking tough, man. And look, man, before I go on to the next topic, man, let me tell you something, man. I am not the biggest fan of players getting injured and hurt. The same way I am not a fan of getting a manager fired. All right. I'm not going to celebrate a person getting fired, and I'm not going to celebrate a player getting fucking injured. Like to I'm not going to mention no names, but there are some delusional Mets fans out there who are celebrating that as if that's a victory. It's not a victory, man. Especially when you have a serious injury of a broken hand, a broken right hand and shit. Like, come on, man. Like, I feel like this is not realistic. This is not being realistic, though. And I get that you guys are angry because they haven't won too many games and stuff like that. But come on, man. Like, really? Like, what the hell are y'all thinking? Y'all letting this win and loss shit get to your head. I just said minutes ago that baseball is a mental sport. It's mental. You know what I'm saying? And another thing, why are we concentrating on players money in their pockets? We're not in the room with the front office and the fucking nerd boat analytics department. All right. I just wanted to get this shit off my chest, man, because I hate when some of the delusional Mets fans out there tend to celebrate a person not only getting fired, but a player getting injured. That is not funny at all, man. That shit is not funny at all. So yeah, there you go right there. There you go right there. Let me see if there's anything else I will. There's been some trade rumors I want to actually talk about too, man. I want to talk about that. There's been some trade rumors that we gotta discuss. There's been some trade rumors that we gotta discuss, though. Let me see. All right. Okay. New York Mets trade rumors. Trade rumors. Okay. I believe one of the trade rumors was about I want to actually get into that too, man. I want to get into that shit though. Let's get into this shit though, because this is so yeah. A new rumor offers the New York Mets a rare opportunity to sell off valuable players before this season's MLB trade deadline while also improving the roster for 2027. This has been a season to forget for the Mets and their fans. Despite high hopes after a notable roster overhaul in the offseason, New York heads into their game that took place on Thursday against the Kansas City Royals with their fifth worst record in MLB at 39-54. It is why they are viewed as the most obvious seller before the August 3rd trade deadline. Moving players moving the few players that have serious value is a smart business decision if they can also improve the roster for next season as well. That would be the perfect scenario. Well, according to the Athletics, Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon, that opportunity may soon arise. Should the Mets pursue a Luis Castillo trade? I don't know about that one right there, man. He's very old. He's very old, man. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. And then, you know, and speaking of Mark Vientos, he is in the trade rumors as well with Seattle Mariners. That's crazy, man. That's fucking crazy. This is so fucking crazy. It's not even funny. And I did hear about trade rumor about Francisco Alvarez. I want to talk about that as well, man. Hold on. This is insane, man. Hold on. And y'all just signed Luis Torrens to a 2-year deal. And y'all want to include him into the fucking, like, how do you justify that shit, man? I don't I don't really get it, man. I don't really get it. Hang on 1 second. All right, let's break this down with the damn trade rumors. Okay, with a yeah, this was July 6th. Yeah, this was posted recently. I'm going to actually get into this was posted recently. So with a 37-53 record, that has them just a half game ahead of the worst record in the National League. The Mets are set to be sellers at the deadline, and Will Salmon of The Athletic and Chelsea James of SNY have provided some insight into the organization's thinking as the August 3rd trade deadline approaches. Salmon writes that teams will be interested in trading for one of the Mets catchers, but he sees a move of either Francisco Alvarez or Luis Torrens as unlikely. Yeah, because Luis Torrens just signed a 2-year deal with the Mets. He also brings up the question of whether or not the team will trade Luke Weaver. Why would you do that, man? He's been lights out in the 8th inning of each game. Who is under team control through the end of 2027 season on a $12.5 million salary. And he mentions that the team is expected to trade Brooks Raley and AJ Minton. Damn. While noting that it seems very unlikely that Bo Bichette will be dealt given his underwhelming season, massive salary, and no trade clause. Oh shit. So he has a no trade clause. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I didn't even know Bo Bichette had a no trade clause. That's interesting. Just like Lindor, just like Juan Soto, which I'll get to him in the All-Star break in a couple seconds. All right, so James mentions some of the same names in writing that players on expiring contracts will be available, adding Freddie Peralta, Clay Holmes, who is in a process of returning from a serious injury. Don't have a timeline of when he'll be returning. And Tyrone Taylor to the aforementioned pair of left-handed relievers. She says that the Mets will prioritize getting the best players in return, regardless of how close they are to the big leagues or what position they will play. She floats the idea of other relievers like Huascar Brazoban and Devin Williams having appeal on the trade market. And she writes that the Mets aren't in a rush to start making trades as front offices are heavily focused on the upcoming amateur draft, which I will get. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Don't worry. I will get to that though, man. So it's not official, man. I don't think that's gonna happen with either of those players, though, man. I don't think it's gonna happen with either of those players. I think this is just rumors, man. And I actually wanted to debunk them. So, consider these debunked. Here we go. I want to touch on the MLB draft. I want to touch on the MLB draft actually. So that's why I'm actually going to be on here. So I want to touch on the MLB draft. So let's get to the MLB draft. What went down? I'm actually going to get into. Yeah, let's get into it right here. The MLB draft. This is from. Hold on one second here. I can actually find out. Let's see, Sports Today. That's interesting. All right. So I wasn't aware. I wasn't even aware that the MLB draft took place yesterday, which was Saturday. So I'm gonna do a little recap of what went down with the MLB draft. So the 2026 MLB draft took place on Saturday, July 11th, which was yesterday. So the Chicago White Sox kicked off the draft at the Pennsylvania Convention Center by selecting UCLA shortstop Rock Cholowski with the first overall pick. Cholowski, who will certainly provide an injection into the White Sox's middling farm system, was taken over Georgia Tech's breakout star catcher Vaughn Lackey and Texas high schooler Grady Emerson. Let's see. The Tampa Bay Rays picked second, and took Emerson. From there, the Minnesota Twins selected Lackey with the third overall pick, followed by UC Santa Barbara right-hander Jackson Flora, going to the San Francisco Giants fourth, and then LSU outfielder Derek Coryell to the Pittsburgh Pirates to round out the top five. Rounds 1 through 4 of the draft took place on Saturday, which was yesterday, while round 5 through 20 takes place today, actually. Let's see. So first round, let's take a look at the first round. Chicago White Sox, UCLA shortstop Rock Cholowski, Tampa Bay Rays, Fort Worth Christian School, that's in Texas, shortstop Grady Emerson. Minnesota Twins, Georgia Tech catcher Vaughn Lackey. San Francisco Giants, UC Santa Barbara, right-handed pitcher Jackson Flora. Pittsburgh Pirates, LSU outfielder Derek Coryell. Kansas City Royals, Louisville outfielder Zion Rose. Baltimore Orioles, Oak Grove High School. Is it Minnesota? Yeah. Let me just confirm that is. Let me confirm this. I believe that's Mississippi. Wait, Mississippi? Is it Mississippi? MS abbreviation state. Let's see. Yes, Mississippi. There you go. Mississippi. All right. Let's get to where we left off here. Okay, yes, Mississippi. I was right. Yes, Baltimore Orioles, Oak Grove High School, Mississippi. Outfielder Eric Booth Jr. Athletics, Georgia Tech outfielder Drew Burress. Atlanta Braves, Virginia outfielder AJ Garcia. Hold on, AJ Garcia. Yeah, Garcia. Wow. Okay. Colorado Rockies, Kentucky shortstop Tyler Bell. Washington Nationals, Texas A&M second baseman Chris Hakopian. Los Angeles Angels, Huntington Beach High School, California outfielder Jared Grindlinger. What? Oh shit. Damn, what kind of name is that, man? Oh shit. Oh man. All right, St. Louis Cardinals, Etowa High School, I believe that's Georgia. Trevor Condon. Not condom, Condon. Miami Marlins, Gulliver Prep, Florida, Jacob Lombard. Arizona Diamondbacks, Arkansas catcher Ryder Helfrich. Texas Rangers, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Florida, Gio Rojas. Houston Astros, Texas Tech outfielder Logan Hughes. Cincinnati Reds, Alabama shortstop Justin LeBron. Cleveland Guardians, Florida right-handed pitcher Liam Peterson. Boston Red Sox, North Carolina shortstop Jake Schaffner. San Diego Padres, South Walton High School, right-handed pitcher, that's in Florida, right-handed pitcher Coleman Borthwick. Detroit Tigers, Coastal Carolina, right-handed pitcher Cameron Flukie. Chicago Cubs, Mississippi, right-handed pitcher Kay Townsend. Seattle Mariners, Mississippi State, third base Ace Reese. Milwaukee Brewers, Corona High School, that's in California. Yeah, that's in California. All right, so the name that Gary Cohen mentioned in yesterday's broadcast, New York Mets, Arkansas right-handed pitcher that they picked is Carson Wiggins. First round pick, dropped 10 spots for exceeding second surcharge threshold of competitive balance tax. And yeah, I did hear that he had brain he had brain surgery, which is, I have to say, that's very painful. I have to say that's very painful. Um, but when I saw his interview, it looks like he's in good spirits and full recovery. So he'll be good. He'll be fine. All right, Houston Astros picked pitcher for Notre Dame, Jack Riddell. All right, competitive balance round A, San Francisco Giants, Southside Christian High School, South Carolina, Carson Bowman. Kansas City Royals picked Mississippi right-handed pitcher Taylor Rabe. Arizona Diamondbacks, Citizens Christian Academy, that's in Georgia. Blake Bryant. St. Louis Cardinals, Tennessee right-handed pitcher Tegan Kunz. Tampa Bay Rays pick James Island High School from South Carolina. Taj Marchand. Chicago White Sox Nazareth Academy, that's in Illinois. Shortstop Landon Tome. Or Tome, however you pronounce it. New York Yankees picked Arkansas left-handed pitcher Hunter Dietz. First round pick dropped 10 spots for exceeding second surcharge threshold of competitive balance tax. Philadelphia Phillies De La Salle High School, California, or I don't know. Yeah, California, I guess. Shortstop Tyler Spangler, first round pick, dropped 10 spots for exceeding second surcharge threshold of competitive balance tax. Colorado Rockies, Georgia, I think catcher Daniel Jackson. Second round, Colorado Rockies, UCLA right-handed pitcher Logan Rederman. Toronto Blue Jays picked Arizona State left-handed pitcher Cole Carlin. First round pick dropped 10 spots for exceeding second surcharge threshold of competitive balance tax. Los Angeles Dodgers, Christchurch Episcopal School. South Carolina, Bo Lawrence. First round pick dropped 10 spots for exceeding second surcharge threshold of competitive balance tax. Chicago White Sox picked Magnolia Heights High School, Mississippi, Cole Prosek. Washington Nationals TCU outfielder Chase Brunson. Minnesota Twins picked Texas catcher Carson Tinney. Pittsburgh Pirates, the Stony Brook High School, New York. Shortstop Aiden Ruiz. Los Angeles Angels picked Georgia Tech second baseman Jaron Advincula. Baltimore Orioles, North Carolina State outfielder Ty Head. Oh shit. Tyler Head. Oh shit, that's funny, man. Oh my goodness, man. Oh my fucking goodness, man. That's wow. All right, Athletics pick USC pitcher Mason Edwards. Atlanta Braves Vermont Academy what is it, Vermont? Yeah, Vermont. They picked pitcher Caden McCarthy. Tampa Bay Rays picked Liberty Virginia. Pitcher Ben Blair. St. Louis Cardinals, Oxford High School, Alabama, Rocco Maniscalco. Pittsburgh Pirates, Auburn second baseman, Chris Rembert. Miami Marlins, Oregon State pitcher Ethan Kleinschmidt. Arizona Diamondbacks, Georgia Tech shortstop Carson Curse. Texas Rangers, L.C. Anderson High School, Texas shortstop Connor Cameyu. San Francisco Giants, G. Suit High School, Florida, pitcher Caden Wetcher. Kansas City Royals, Lions Township High School, Illinois, Jack Slightom. Houston Astros, Florida State pitcher Wes Mendez. Cincinnati Reds, Virginia shortstop Eric Becker. Cleveland Guardians, Ganesha High School, California, pitcher Logan Schmidt. San Diego Padres, Upper Canada High School, Upper Canada College High School. Shortstop Elliot Lascelles. Detroit Tigers, Kansas shortstop Tyson LeBlanc. Chicago Cubs, Texas A&M outfielder Caden Sorrell. New York Yankees, Terry Fox, shortstop. No, hold on. I'm sorry. Terry Fox, SS, BC, British of Columbia, something like that. Pitcher Sean Duncan. Philadelphia Phillies, Missouri State outfielder Caden Bogan Poe. Seattle Mariners, LSU outfielder Jake Brown. This is a different Jake Brown, folks. This is a different Jake Brown, not the Jake Brown that you see on YouTube. This is a different one. Milwaukee Brewers, TCU outfielder Sawyer Stroh-Snyder. Competitive balance B, Boston Red Sox, North Carolina outfielder Owen Hall. St. Louis Cardinals, Central Florida outfielder Andrew Williamson. Detroit Tigers, Florida Gulf Coast pitcher Evan Dempsey. And Cincinnati Reds, UCLA first baseman Malivo Levu. Miami Marlins, Sam Houston State pitcher Ryan Peterson. St. Louis Cardinals, West Virginia pitcher Dawson Motessa. Athletics pick a pitcher from Arkansas, Gabe Jaeco. Minnesota Twins picked a pitcher from Virginia Tech, Brett Renfro. Compensation picks: Chicago Cubs, Florida State, first base Miles Bailey. Third round, Colorado Rockies, Cincinnati catcher Jack Natil. Chicago White Sox, Georgia pitcher Joey Volchko. Washington Nationals, Franklin Regional, Pennsylvania High School, Luke Williams. Minnesota Twins, Grandview, Colorado High School pitcher Ethan Washman. Pittsburgh Pirates, North Carolina pitcher Jason DeCaro. Los Angeles Angels, Texas A&M third baseman Gavin Gravhovac. Baltimore Orioles, Kansas pitcher Dominic Voengale. Athletics, North Carolina State pitcher Jacob Dudon. Atlanta Braves, Kingsburg. I believe that's in California. Yeah. High school pitcher Jensen Hirschkorn. Tampa Bay Rays, Dana Hills, California. High school pitcher Gavin Geese. St. Louis Cardinals Texas Tech outfielder Caden Ferraro. Caden Ferraro. Let's see. Miami Marlins, Arkansas shortstop Cam Cozio. Arizona Diamondbacks, Florida State of outfielder Braden Dowd. Texas Rangers, Bishop Feehan, Massachusetts. Minnesota. I'm sorry, Minnesota or Mississippi. I don't know. Yeah, Minnesota. I'm sorry. Yeah, Minnesota. High school pitcher Brody Bumilla. San Francisco Giants, Rutgers outfielder Peyton Bonds. Kansas City Royals, West Virginia pitcher Max Yell. New York Mets also picked an outfielder from Texas, Aiden Robbins. Houston Astros, First Presbyterian, Georgia, high school, shortstop Keon Johnson. Cincinnati Reds, Nebraska pitcher Tyner Horn. Cleveland Guardians, Houston of outfielder Trey Broussard. Boston Red Sox, Hudson, Wisconsin high school, shortstop Jada Matakzinski. San Diego Padres, North Carolina pitcher Ryan Lynch. Chicago Cubs, Nebraska pitcher Carson Jasa. New York Yankees, they picked someone from Oklahoma, catcher Brandon Brock. Philadelphia Phillies, Texas pitcher Ruger Riojas or Riojas, however you pronounce it. Seattle Mariners, Cincinnati pitcher Nathan Taylor. Milwaukee Brewers, Florida of outfielder Kyle Jones. Toronto Blue Jays, Oregon shortstop Ryan Cooney. Fourth round, Colorado Rockies, Mississippi State pitcher Ben Davis. Chicago White Sox, Oregon State pitcher Eric Segura. Washington Nationals, Flower Mound, Texas pitcher Cooper Harris. Minnesota Twins, TCU pitcher Tommy Laporte. Pittsburgh Pirates, Basic Nevada. High school outfielder Andrew Giles. Los Angeles Angels, Georgia outfielder Ryan Lujo. Baltimore Orioles, Jackson Prep. That's in Mississippi. High school outfielder Kevin Roberts Jr. Athletics, UCLA shortstop Roman Martin. Atlanta Braves, Bishop Snyder. Florida high school pitcher Cole Dennis. Tampa Bay Rays, Houston, Tennessee. High school outfielder Colin Bland. St. Louis Cardinals, Kansas City State shortstop D. Kennedy. Miami Marlins, Glen Academy, Georgia high school outfielder Wesley Robinson. Arizona Diamondbacks, Missouri pitcher Josh McDevitt. Texas Rangers, Mississippi pitcher Hudson Calhoun. San Francisco Giants, Hostra P. Carlos Martinez. Kansas City Royals, Oswego East Illinois High School outfielder Dominic Bautista. New York Mets also picked someone from Texas. A&M pitcher Shane S. Dale. Houston Astros, Missouri shortstop Cam Durnan. Cincinnati Reds, East Carolina pitcher Ethan Norby. Cleveland Guardians, Wake Forest third baseman Cade Lewis. You have San Diego Padres, George Washington catcher Robbie LeVay. Detroit Tigers, Holy Cross. I believe that's Louisiana. I believe that's Louisiana. High school shortstop Dominic Pellegrin. Chicago Cubs, Northwestern Louisiana State. Pitcher Dylan Mariano. New York Yankees, Cal State Fullerton outfielder Paul Gutierrez Contreras. Philadelphia Phillies, LSU pitcher Devin Sheeran. Seattle Mariners, UNC Wilmington third baseman Trevor Lucas. Milwaukee Brewers, St. John Bosco pitcher Julian Garcia. Toronto Blue Jays, Christian Brothers, Tennessee catcher Will Brick. Los Angeles Dodgers pick Florida pitcher Russell Sandeffer. Compensation picks: Houston Astros, Mill Valley, Kansas High School infielder Bo Peterson. San Diego Padres, Oklahoma State outfielder Alex Conover. Philadelphia Phillies, Kentucky pitcher Jackson Jelkin. 5th round, Colorado Rockies, Battle High School, Missouri High School pitcher Tyler Putnam. Chicago White Sox pick Oregon pitcher Cal Scolari. Washington Nationals pick Miami third baseman Daniel Cuvette. Minnesota Twins pick UC San Diego P. Steele Murdoch. Pittsburgh Pirates, North Carolina State pitcher Ryan Moran. Los Angeles Angels, OU shortstop Jackson Willits. Baltimore Orioles, Heartland Heartland CC. I'm not sure what CC is actually. Shortstop Jimmy Anderson. Athletics pick Georgia Tech third baseman Alex Hernandez. Atlanta Braves pick Ole Miss pitcher Will Libbert. Tampa Bay Rays, Arizona pitcher Owen Kramkowski. St. Louis Cardinals, UCLA pitcher Cal Randall. Miami Marlins, Florida State pitcher Trey Beard. That's weird. Arizona Diamondbacks, OU pitcher LJ Mercurius. Texas Rangers, Penn State TWP Michael Anderson Jr. San Francisco Giants, North Carolina State second baseman Luke Nixon. Let's see. Yeah, Kansas City Royals, Arkansas pitcher Ethan McAlvin. New York Mets pick Florida pitcher Luke McNally. Houston Astros, pick California pitcher Gavin Eddy. Cincinnati. That's what CC stands for. Cincinnati. I'm sorry. Cincinnati. Yeah. Yeah, Cincinnati Reds, Hanover Central infielder, high school shortstop, Dylan Bowen. Cleveland Guardians, Louisville outfielder Lucas Moore. Boston Red Sox, Bayer um, pitcher Lucas Davenport. San Diego Padres pick Kansas State pitcher James Guyette. Detroit Tigers pick Louisiana Tech P. Declan Dahl. That's DAHL. Chicago Cubs pick La Cueva. New Mexico high school pitcher Dylan Blomker. New York Yankees pick Texas A&M catcher Bear Harrison. Bear. Bear. Wow. Wow. Philadelphia Phillies pick UCLA outfielder Will Gasparino. Seattle Mariners pick Florida outfielder Hayden Yost. Milwaukee Brewers pick Clemson pitcher Aiden Knack. And last but not least, Toronto Blue Jays pick Michigan State pitcher Nolan Higgins. Let me know how you feel about these MLB draft picks in the comment section on YouTube. All right. So there you go. There you go, right there. Let me see if there's anything else I need to cover before I wrap up here. Oh, let's talk about Nick Morabito let's talk about Nick Morabito. Let's talk about let's talk about Kodai Senga for a sec. Because somebody Drew Learn asked me in regards to Kodai Senga, right? And I actually mentioned in the previous episode, I don't think you're going to get anything back from him. I don't think you're going to get anything back as far as prospects or anything like that. But let's take a look here. Let's see. Let's take a look here. Oh shit. All right. Okay, Kodai Senga's failures as a starter haven't extended into his new bullpen job. It's too early to declare the Mets right-hander a success as a reliever, but at a second straight solid outing Friday at least provided doses of optimism for a struggling pitcher in need of a boost. The preparations is according to the New York Post. The preparation is different, Senga said through his interpreter after allowing one earned run over 2 2/3 innings against the Braves. There isn't much rhythm going into it, but the job is the same. I try to do my best, try to put up zeros, try to contribute to a win. Senga's previous relief appearance was last weekend against the Phillies when he allowed 2 earned runs over 5 innings. Even with his recent success, Senga owns an 8.66 ERA this season, which says everything about his work as a starter. It could be a last shot for Senga, who is signed through next season to show he still belongs in a major league uniform. One thing that is different, simpler, the data aspect is not going into each line of each start thinking about what pitches I can throw, what locations I can throw to each hitter versus now being a reliever. I am just given the data that the team provides and going out there and pitching. So that is different for sure, Senga said. The Mets can use the bullpen as an avenue toward improving Senga, allowing him a return to the starting rotation. Sean Menard took such a path earlier this season. Let's see. They also could decide Senga is best suited for the bullpen and leave him there. Senga's quality of stuff suggests he could be used as a high leverage reliever, not just inserted to provide coverage for multiple innings. He's throwing the ball really well, interim manager Andy Green said when he comes in the first couple of innings Friday. It was an electric fastball. The forkball really plays. It's been really good. I know he's given up a couple of home runs, but I think you have to like the look of it. The way it looks, he can pitch a leverage one inning. He's got that one inning as well. If the need arises, he gave us 3 strong innings. Last year at this time, Senga was on the injured list, nearing his return from a hamstring injury that forced him to the injured list for a month. Senga had a 1.47 ERA and was regarded as an ace material for the Mets rotation. But Senga struggled after his return from the IL and ultimately agreed to pitch the final month at AAA Syracuse. Senga had 2 solid starts this season, but began to struggle in April and was placed on the IL with lumbar spine inflammation in his lower back. He bombed in 2 June starts upon returning and was sent to the bullpen. Would Senga embrace a relief role full time? It doesn't matter where I pitch. He said, if I am given the ball, I am going to go out there and pitch. I have started some games this year and haven't operated well as a starter. So it doesn't matter if I start in second, third, eighth, or ninth. Whatever inning it is, when I am given the ball, I am going to continue to do what I can to help the club. Yeah, so to answer your question, Drew Learn, I don't think you're going to get anything out of him as far as prospects or anything like that. So as far as value, so it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to really say. I doubt that they're going to get anything out of him. Now, I did mention Clay Holmes. Actually. So I want to get to him. Actually as far as the update. Let's get to him. Let's see. So this is from Yahoo Sports. Clay Holmes is progressing to a mound in his rehab, but still weeks away from rejoining the Mets. The right-hander will throw a bullpen session this week, according to interim manager Andy Green, in his rehab from a broken right fibula. Let's see. I would love to say he's ahead of schedule, but I don't want to get ahead of myself and make that declaration, Green said before the Mets beat the Blue Jays 3-0 on Tuesday at Rogers Center. But it's going well, and we're encouraged by that. Holmes, who can opt out of his contract after this season, is among the pitchers the Mets could like to deal before the August 3rd trade deadline. Holmes was the Mets' most effective starter before his injury, pitching to a 2.39 ERA in 8 starts. Yeah. Luis Robert Jr. began a minor league rehab assignment with AAA Syracuse, where he joined rehabbing Jorge Polanco. I don't think Luis Robert Jr. is going to be back anytime soon. Green was asked what the Mets lineup could become with Robert and Polanco as options. Both players have been sidelined since April. The New York Post receives revenue from affiliate and advertising partnerships for sharing this content. And when you make a purchase, in Robert's case, it's a right-handed bat that we have missed pretty obviously against left-handed pitching, Green said. It would be great to have Polanco. He really rounds out a lineup with an ability to hit from both sides. So the lineup gets lengthened. I think some of the at bats we have had late in games, when you have those guys, you have more options. Even if they are on the bench on a given day, you have got more choices that work really well, and I think it's just a longer, more diverse lineup. Though AJ Ewing, aka the Flash, has taken grounders, Green downplayed the idea the rookie could shift to the infield, second base following Roberts' return. That would be a fucking malpractice. You are talking about somebody adjusting to the big leagues and being locked in out in center field right now, which is where he's been, Green said. And of course, I'll get to Christopher Morel. Hold on. I will get to Christopher Morel. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I cover the bases. Yes, Christopher Morel. I'm going to talk about him next. I'll talk about him next. Oh, by the way, in other Clay Holmes stuff, I actually saw a post actually. I'm going to look this up right now. Because this should be interesting. Clay Holmes open to an extension. Extension. Yeah, extension idea. Okay. All right, this is interesting. I want to actually look into this. So, Clay Holmes open to Mets extension amid injury and deadline pressure. Clay Holmes, the New York Mets 33-year-old right-hander, has publicly stated he is definitely open to signing a contract extension with the team, even while he's rehabbing from a fractured fibula. The report from The Athletic comes as the Mets sit at 40-54, make that 56, and are widely considered sellers at the August 3rd trade deadline, making Holmes' willingness to stay a notable development. And of course, the current situation for Holmes, he suffered the fibula fracture on May 15th, 2026, when Spencer hit him actually. Yeah, so yeah, when hit by a comebacker from the Yankees, he's in rehab with a target return date in mid-August. Contract, he has a $12 million player option for 2027, which he's expected to decline if he signs an extension. Performance before the injury, Holmes was pitching like an ace, 2.39 ERA, 1.10 whip, 45 strikeouts, in 52.2 innings over 9 starts this season. Last year, he posted a 3.53 ERA in 33 games. That's 31 starts. Why an extension makes sense, you ask? Leverage with the Mets unlikely to trade him before the deadline. Teams won't deal for a pitcher still recovering. Locking him up now avoids bidding against other teams next winter. Value. Holmes' production and upside make him a mid-rotation anchor. An extension could secure him for years at a premium. So, in other words, no way in the hell that Tariq Skubal was going to the Mets. No way. No way that David Stearns is going to, aka Moneyball Stearns, is going to actually pay $400 to $500 million to a guy that's like fucking. He's like between 30 to 31 years old right now, man. So anyway, team need the Mets' rotation has struggled with starters like Sean Manaea and Kodai Senga underperforming. Okay. Reported extension range. Sources suggest a 3-year deal worth roughly $60 million with potential upside to $75 million could be a reasonable offer. Holmes' stance. Holmes has emphasized that he's not hoping to run away from the Mets and wants to be part of the solution to improve the team. He's described a sense of unfinished business in Queens and is focused on contributing to future success. Bottom line is Holmes' injury delays any trade, but his openness to an extension combined with the Mets' need for a reliable starter creates a strong case for them. A strong case for the team to act before the deadline. So there you go. There you go right there. There you go right there, man. That was your breaking news in terms of Clay Holmes. Open to an extension. So let's see. Christopher Morel. Let me find. Oh yes, here it is. Here it is. All right. So according to AMNY, while the Mets are hurting toward a fire sale before Major League Baseball's August 3rd trade deadline, they picked up first baseman outfielder Christopher Morel on a minor league contract that includes multiple opt-out dates on Tuesday. The 27-year-old was recently released by the Miami Marlins after a miserable start to the 2026 campaign. In 22 games, 73 plate appearances, he slashed a paltry of 162, 219, and 206. That's 425 OPS. And with 1 RBI and 28 strikeouts. Morel showed flashes of promise early in his career with the Chicago Cubs. In 107 games during the 2023 season, his second in the majors, he posted an 821 OPS with 26 home runs and 70 RBIs. This appears to be another case of Moneyball Stern scrounging through the scrap pile in hopes of catching lightning in a bottle. In other words, he's looking through the dumpster right now. That's why everybody's been calling him dumpster diver Stearns, man. Oh shit. Yeah, Morel has played every position other than catcher, and he is not particularly competent in any of those roles. All right. The Mets' first base situation remains fluid, and perhaps Morel will get an opportunity to play there should things continue to devolve at its current rate. Jorge Polanco still does not have a concrete return date. Well, actually, he returned already. Actually. So there you go. And like I said earlier, Mark Vientos has a fractured hand injury that he's going to be out between 6 to 8 weeks. Most likely, probably he's not going to be back. He's probably going to be back after the trade deadline, man. So there you go right there. All right. Let's see. I want to get into I actually want to see something actually. Hold on 1 second. I want to get into this actually. This is the sports rundown actually. I want to get into the sports rundown schedule and also get into what's going on down on the farm. All right. So this is where I actually give you the rundown on the Mets schedule and of course what's going on down on the farm, how the minor league players are doing, and all that great stuff right there, man. So let's get into it right here. Let's get into it right here, right now. All right, down on the farm. Let's take a look right here, man. Down on the farm. Down on the farm. Okay, so Yaharo Cuevas hit 13 homers in his first 398 minor league games. He has hit 5 in his last 5. The 22-year-old Bronx native hit a 3-run shot Friday in High A, Brooklyn's 8-7 loss to Frederick. The homer was his 7th of the season, setting a new career mark. The outfielder hit 2 for St. Lucie before he was promoted to Brooklyn. MJ Melendez, who also got sent to Syracuse, also homered again for Syracuse Friday, driving in himself as the winning RBI over Worcester. Okay, so let's see. So Ryan Clifford, 1 for 3 with a run, a walk, 2 strikeouts. MJ Melendez, 2 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBIs, 2 runs, 851 OPS. Nick Morabito, 1 for 5, 783 OPS. Juan Bay, 2 for 4 with 2 runs and a walk. All right, so there you go right there. And I believe Tobias Myers got sent down too, and I think Xavier Curry got sent down too after the win that he received. Jeffrey Yan. Okay, hold on. Yeah, Jeffrey Yan, 3.38 ERA. Tobias Myers, 2.00 ERA. 3 strikeouts, a walk, hits, errors, and yeah, so there you go right there. And Jan, age 29 of the Dominican Republic, has struck out 66 in 34 to 2/3 innings combined at Syracuse and Binghamton. And let's see, you got double A. Hold on. No, I should mention this is triple A. Double A is Nick Lucky, 3 for 4 RBI, 834 OPS. Kevin Parada, 1 for 5, a double, 540 OPS. Chris Suero, 1 for 5, 762 OPS. Suero stole his team leading 22nd base. He's also third on the team in homers with 11. RJ Gordon, 6.61 ERA. Justin R. Brewster, 1.59 ERA. And High A, Mitch Voigt, 0 for 5, 2 strikeouts. Yaharo Cuevas, 2 for 3, 5 home runs, 3 RBIs, a walk, strikeouts, 647 OPS. John Bay, 1 for 4, a home run, 3 RBIs, and a strikeout, 785 OPS. JT Benson, 1 for 3, home run, 2 runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 951 OPS. Bay broke a tie with Voigt for the team lead in homers with his 11th blast. He is second on the team in steals with 17. Voigt is first with 26. Dakota Hawkins, 3.00 ERA, 5 errors, 5 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, a strikeout, and 2 homers. All right, so this is crazy, man. You know what? I'm gonna save the rest of this for another time. I want to actually get to. I want to actually get to Juan Soto. He's included in the All-Star break. He's included to the All-Star break. So let's get into this right here. Yes. So Mets left fielder Juan Soto was named to his fifth MLB All-Star game Saturday night when starters were announced live on Fox. Soto was the sole player selected to represent the Mets at the 96th edition of the Midsummer Classic, which will take place July 14th at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. A year after being snubbed, Soto is back among the best in baseball. His exclusion from last year's event stuck with him, and he used it as fuel to come back this season even better. I just fell short last year, definitely. I just let it kind of motivate me, Soto said Saturday at Truist Park. I've got to be better. I've got to be better to be with the best of the best in the league. Definitely this year I came in with a different mentality. There was no repeat of the slow start that cost him a spot last season. Soto's 971 OPS is the second best in baseball behind Houston's Yordan Alvarez. And tops in NL. His 406 on base clip also tops the NL, which is National League. One of the coolest things you can do is be around greatness, and he clearly is that in the batter's box, said interim manager Andy Green. It's very otherworldly. He does it day in, day out. It's just quality at bat after quality at bat. The damage is there, the walks are there, and it's as professional as it gets. The 27-year-old was visibly excited after receiving the news in Atlanta. He credits the fans in his native Dominican Republic as well as New York, saying he appreciated how Mets fans have welcomed him since he went from the Bronx to Queens last season. Starters were voted in by fans, while pitchers and reserve players were selected through a player ballot. A group of voters consisting of players, managers, coaches, and league personnel. Each team has at least one representative. The honor for Soto is in being around the top players in the game and knowing he's one of them. For me, it's just watching the game, watching all the superstars playing on the team. So said, I mean, how stacked can one lineup be? It's really cool to see. So I feel like every part of it I enjoy. A decision hasn't been made about whether or not Soto will participate in the home run derby. Soto wants to take into account what's best for his body and for the team in the second half of the season. Remarkably consistent player throughout his career, Soto has been the most consistent hitter for the Mets this season. He hasn't gone more than 3 consecutive games without a hit yet this season, and has reached base in 44 of his last 88 plate appearances. He doesn't want to do anything to disrupt his production at the plate, especially when the rest of the lineup is having trouble just getting on base on many nights. The Mets rank toward the bottom of the league in every offensive category. There's not much stuff to be proud of, but definitely we've been trying our best, so said. I definitely see guys grinding. That's one of the things I'm really proud of, the work ethic that my teammates have. It's unbelievable how they come and show up every day to prepare themselves to play the game. It's great. I feel like it's one of the things that we can do the best, how we prepare ourselves to be ready for the game. It's one of the things I'm most proud of. The Mets will be the 4th different team Soto has represented at the All-Star game, previously going as a member of the Washington Nationals, San Diego Padres, and Yankees. So there you go right there. So there you go, right there. I gotta see what time this shit starts though. Let's see the MLB All Star thing. Let me see. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at this though. So the full rosters for the MLB All-Star Game were revealed on Saturday, July 4th. That's the 4th of July. The 96th edition of the Midsummer Classic will be held at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia on Tuesday, July 14th. The Atlanta Braves, Los Angeles Dodgers, and the host Philadelphia Phillies are sending 5 players apiece to the All-Star Game, tied for the most in the league. Here are the full All-Star rosters for the American and National Leagues. Come on. All right, you got American League. You got catcher Shane Langoliers from the Athletics. First baseman Vladimir Guerrero, Blue Jays, also from the Blue Jays. Second baseman Ernie Clement, and third baseman from the Tampa Bay Rays, Junior Caminero. Shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. from the Royals. Outfielder Mike Trout, Angels. Outfielder Byron Buxton, Twins. Outfielder Aaron Judge, Yankees. I'm not sure if he's fully recovered from that rib cage injury. And of course, designated hitter Yordan Alvarez from the Astros. The pitchers includes Brian Baker from the Rays, Dylan Cease from the Blue Jays, Aroldis Chapman, Red Sox, Jacob Latz, Rangers, Parker Messick, Guardians, Drew Rasmussen from the Rays, Joe Ryan from the Twins, Ken Schlittler from the Yankees, Cade Smith from the Guardians, Ranger Suarez from the Red Sox, Louis Varland from the Blue Jays, and then you got Michael Walker from the Royals. Reserves includes Dylan Dinger from the Tigers as catcher Adley Rutschman from the Orioles, infielder Travis Bazana from the Guardians. You have infielder Nick Kurtz, Athletics, infielder Kevin McGonigal from the Tigers. Oh, shit. Infielder Ben Rice from the Yankees. Infielder Miguel Vargas from the White Sox. Outfielder Randy Arozarena from the Mariners. Outfielder Cody Bellinger from the Yankees. Outfielder Riley Green, Tigers, and designated hitter Yandy Diaz from the Rays. Now you got the National League starters. You got catcher Drake Baldwin from the Braves, first baseman Freddie Freeman from the Dodgers, second baseman Ozzie Albies from the Braves, third baseman Max Muncy, shortstop C.J. Abrams, Nationals, outfielder Brandon Marsh, Phillies. You got outfielder Juan Soto from the Mets that's in there. You got outfielder Andy Pajes from the Dodgers. You got designated hitter Shohei Ohtani from the Dodgers. You also have pitchers included, such as Chase Burns from the Reds, Joan Duran from the Phillies, you got Raiso Iglesias from the Braves. You got Max Meyer from the Marlins. You got Mason Miller, Padres. Jacob Misiorowski from the Brewers. Eduardo Rodriguez from the Diamondbacks. Chris Sale from the Braves. Christopher Sanchez from the Phillies. Paul Skeens from the Pirates. Logan Webb, Giants. Yoshinobu Yamamoto from the Dodgers. And you got the reserves. Catchers include William Contreras, Brewers, catcher Hunter Goodman, Rockies, infielder Luis Arias, Giants, infielder Bryce Harper, Phillies, infielder Otto Lopez from the Marlins. You got infielder Matt Olson from the Braves. You got infielder Sal Stewart, Reds. Outfielder Corbin Carroll, Diamondbacks. You got outfielder Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs. Outfielder Jordan Walker from the Cardinals. Outfielder James Wood, Nationals. And designated hitter Kyle Schwarber from the Phillies. So yeah, let me see. I believe if I could find out something, actually. Let me find out something real quick. Let me find out something because let me find out something. All right, so let me see. Let me get this out of here. Get this out of here. All right. All right, so let's see. Let me find out for you folks out there. What time does the All-Star break? The All-Star game start. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look here. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so the MLB All-Star game starts at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, July 14th on Fox 5. Yeah, Fox 5. Yeah, Fox 5, Fox 1, all that stuff. Yeah. Let's take a look at the All-Star Week schedule. Yeah, it's going to be on Fox. Yeah, Fox 5. Check your local listings. So there is an All-Star schedule that I want to actually point out too. There is an All-Star schedule that I want to actually. So you have the Capital One All-Star Village from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. You have 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday and Tuesday. Today happened All-Star Sunday. So there it happened at Gates. So it happened at 12 p.m. actually. And there was All-Star Futures game presented by Nike. There was an MLB X All-Star 3-on-3 presented by Ito N. Tomorrow, July 13th, there's a T-Mobile Home Run Derby. It's going to take place on Netflix. 8 hitters, 3 rounds, dozens of homers, and 1 home run derby champion. It all goes down Monday, July 13th at Citizens Bank Park on Netflix. And like I said, Tuesday, July 14th, there is an All-Star Red Carpet show presented by MasterCard. You know these stars have style. You now see them show it off. The All-Star Red Carpet show presented by MasterCard takes place at 2 p.m. On July 14th, which All-Star will win Best Dress? Who cleans up better, the AL or the NL? That takes place at the Independence Mall. You can watch it on MLB Network and MLB.com. The MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. The 2026 MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard comes to Philadelphia July 14th. The best and brightest from the American League and the National League will battle it out. Tune in to Fox 5. Check your local TV listings when they take the field at 8 p.m. Eastern on July 14th. It's going to take place at the Citizens Bank Park. Gates are open at 5 p.m. Eastern. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. Now, I can get into the Mets schedule. Let me get to the Mets schedule before I wrap up here. Let me get to the Mets schedule before I wrap up here, actually. So, the Mets are going to be, let me see. So, the Mets are going to be off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're not going to be playing until Thursday. They go against the Phillies on ESPN. They'll be back on Saturday. Saturday 5 p.m. on SNY. That's July 18th. July 19th, 1:35 p.m. on SNY. July 20th, New York Mets versus the Brewers, 7:40 on SNY. Tuesday, July 21st, my sister's birthday. Mets go against the Brewers, 7:40 p.m. on SNY. Wednesday, July 22nd, New York Mets versus Brewers, 2:10 p.m. on SNY. Friday, July 24th, the Dodgers versus the Mets at Citi Field on Friday, 7:10 p.m. on WPIX 11. July 25th, that's a Saturday, Dodgers versus Mets, 7:15 p.m. on Fox 5. Sunday, July 26th, Dodgers versus the New York Mets at 1:40 p.m. on SNY. All right. All right. I said I was going to talk about a little bit of Nick Morabito. I forgot. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see. So let me see. Yeah, no, I'm running them. All right. So Nick Morabito last month. All right. Earlier this season, people were discussing Nick Morabito in the same breath as Carson Bench or AJ Ewing, aka the Flash, and with good reason. Through the first month of the season, he was hitting 268, 371, 463 with 4 doubles and 4 home runs in 23 games for the Syracuse Mets. Good for a 116 WRC plus. Unfortunately for Morabito and for everyone else out there, things took a turn for the worse in the month of May as the outfield hit 234, 355, 297 until May 19th when the Mets called the 23-year-old up to the majors for roughly a week to balance out the bench. After going hitless in 11 at-bats, drawing a walk, he was optioned back down to Syracuse on May 25th, where he had a strong week going 6 for 23 with a pair of extra base hits and 3 walks, finishing out his May hitting 241, 253, 333 with 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run. Prior to the past week, Morabito's June was looking grim. Coming into the week, he was hitting 227, 320, 295, but thanks to his performance against the Tides, he's hitting 256, 364, 415. As expected, the red flags that presented themselves in his profile last season, such as his elevated strikeout rate, have continued to bite Morabito, but to his credit, he responded by making improvements to other facets of his game. His walk rate has improved up from a 9.8% in 95 games with high A Brooklyn and 9.6% with double A Binghamton to 11.6% in 63 games with Syracuse. He batted ball data. His batted ball data, however slight, has improved with fewer ground balls and more line drives and fly balls. His hit spray, though slight, is more efficient with his pull and up the middle rates up at up a bit and his opposite field rate down. There is no doubt in my mind that Morabito will be called back up to the majors at some point between now and when he decides to call it a career. And with his speed and ability to play center field, there is no doubt in my mind he will carve himself a nice little niche as a bench player. While he does not have particularly loud offensive tools, there are clear avenues for Morabito to improve, which might then raise his potential standing even further from bench player to perhaps more. So there you go right there. There you go right there. I'm not gonna get into too much of the other prospects. So I'll probably look into the other prospects and stuff probably next time. I'll probably look into it probably next time though, man, so yeah. All right, I'm about to wrap up here. I'm about to wrap it up here actually. Yeah, I'm about to wrap it up right here. So let me just let's just look up. Okay. All right. All right, time for the last segment. And this segment is stream choices on the go. Sorry. Yeah, stream choices on the go. All right. All right, here's the deal, folks. Make sure you follow the Sports Edition Show, excellent, fun, vibrant talks podcast on social media, which includes Bluesky Social, Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. The same goes for my other podcast shows that I do on a weekly basis, which includes the Entertainment Review Show, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast. I just did episode 161. Make sure you check out recent episodes 159, 160, 161. And also Off the Meat Rat Change New York Avenue podcast. That's also on those platforms as well. So yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to not only to my other YouTube channel pages, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, G Money Stacks 555, and of course, the sports YouTube channel page, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast. Make sure you leave a like and a comment. Tell me how you feel about the MLB drafts, and as far as what the Mets picked, and of course, the other sports topics that I've talked about in this episode about the difficult challenges and everything else in between. I try to be empathetic and in terms of what the Mets are going through and stuff like that, because you never know what a person might be going through mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually that's going on in their heads and stuff. So you never know. So yeah, there you go. Make sure you click on the notification bell so you know when I'll be going live again on the next upcoming episode. All right. And that's gonna do it for me, man. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Rhymes with now or later, like the candy. And I'd like to say thank you to every single one of you for listening and watching. You could listen to any other sports podcast in the whole world, but you chose to listen to this one. Now, remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. Find your niche in whatever career field you're trying to do. And if you plan on starting a podcast, make sure you, find your wins, your whats, your whys, your hows, your wins, and a summary about what your show is going to be about. Don't let anybody tell you that there's no money into certain things. I think it's a crazy mindset from certain individuals, certain parents and stuff. So it's a crazy, ridiculous mindset right there, though. Also, be on your P's and Q's creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. And you know what? Don't waste your time being a people pleaser, man. Especially to some of the Mets players out there, man. All you gotta do is just have fun playing good baseball, and whatever mistakes happen, it happened. Whatever mental mistakes, mental errors, mental lapses, or whatever happens, you can't change that. You can't change that, man. And this is just me being a realistic Mets fan here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not the typical person who's going to celebrate a person's injury and a person's firing. I'm not going to do that. That's not really the wave right there, though, man. But it's impossible to please every. It's impossible to please every Mets fan to make them happy. It's impossible, man. With some of the delusional individuals and stuff. So you know what I'm saying. So to the Mets players and stuff like that, be yourself, man. Be yourself, man. Don't worry about carrying the burden of excess baggage of the mistakes and losses onto your shoulders, man. You know what I'm saying? You're not alone in all this. I know every team goes through this and everything else, but this is a real thing. Baseball is unpredictable. It's a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there you go right there, man. I'm about to be out of here. And I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, even though it's 3 hours long. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to actually, make sure that I create more content. Stay tuned for more sports episodes, new topics in the next episode. All right. I'm out of here. Peace and one love. Take care of yourselves. I hope y'all enjoy. I hope the Mets enjoy their days off so they can have time to reset, regroup, and all that other stuff, man. And flush the damn mistakes and mental lapses and all that other stuff out the damn window, man, into the toilet. All right. Take it easy. Be safe out there. Stay cool with some water. There's going to be a heat wave again coming up this week, starting Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And if you don't have any air conditioners in your homes, you can call 311 to have the people help you find some cooling centers in the neighborhood near you. All All right, I'm really out of here this time, man. Peace and one love. In the words of Ken Stars, have a good night, everybody.